Bertaux's hint for Chapter 2 on absolute advantage and comparative advantage. We can look at this concept from the standpoint of two countries, even two individuals. So we'll give you a brief description of both of those. So we'll start with an example of two countries, England and Portugal. England has resources that allow it to very efficiently produce. So we'll put some bolts of cloth over here for England, and we're going to actually assert here that England has an absolute advantage in the production of cloth relative to Portugal. They have the iron reserves, the industrialized factories, etc. And if they did nothing but produce cloth, and Portugal did nothing but produce cloth, England could produce more cloth than Portugal, giving it an absolute advantage. Okay, when we look at Portugal, what we're going to see is that they have an absolute advantage in the production of wine. Okay, so I'm going to note that if Portugal produced nothing but wine and England produced nothing but wine, Portugal would far outproduce England in the production of wine. Therefore, for these two countries together, the way for them to actually increase what they consume is through specialization and trade. England will specialize in cloth, because this is where they have their absolute advantage, and Portugal will specialize in wine, because that's where they have their absolute advantage. And when we look at the trading patterns, we'll then see cloth being English cloth being shipped to Portugal, and Portuguese wine being shipped to England. So that's an example of two countries. We'll now take a look at two individuals. Okay, in this example we have two individuals. We have Karen the lawyer, and we have Kate the legal secretary. And the two products here are going to be legal briefs prepared and typing performed. So we have Karen the lawyer, trained professionally in the preparation of legal briefs. She's going to have an absolute advantage there. And Kate, the legal secretary, is highly trained in typing, and she will have the absolute advantage there. So let's say that in one day of work, Karen the lawyer could produce 4 legal briefs. If she did nothing but typing all day, her alternative would be that she would actually type up 2 legal briefs. Whereas Kate, the legal secretary, is going to have a different production schedule here. If she does nothing but legal briefs, she's going to manage to do 1. This is not her area of training, but she's maybe picked up enough on the job to get 1 done. But if she does nothing but typing, she can actually type up 3 briefs. So we can see here that it would benefit the company, the firm, the legal firm here, to have Karen the lawyer specialize where she has the absolute advantage, in other words, in legal briefs, and Kate, the legal secretary, should concentrate in typing. In this way, the firm would get 4 legal briefs prepared per day and 3 briefs typed up per day. So again, this is an example of absolute advantage. What I'd like to do now is to use this same example of the Karen and Kate to look at comparative advantage. Okay, so now we're going to take the same individuals and we're going to look at a case of comparative advantage. And in this case, we're going to continue to assume that Karen the lawyer has special legal training and she can do 4 legal briefs per day if she does nothing but that, and that Kate could only do 1. And again, Kate could type up 3 briefs, but now instead of having Karen able to type up only 2 briefs, we're going to have her able to type up 4. Perhaps Karen's mother was a typing teacher and taught her from a young age excellent keyboarding skills, so that she actually is a better typist than Kate, the legal secretary. Faster, more accurate, etc. In this case, what we see is that Karen the lawyer has an absolute advantage in both legal briefs prepared and typing. Now, does this mean that she should do both of these and Kate the legal secretary should do nothing? Maybe Kate the legal secretary should be let go. The principle of comparative advantage tells us that this is not the case. That what should happen here is that Karen the lawyer should concentrate in the good, in this case the work performed, where she is, I'm going to use my colloquial language here, where she is more better. She's better at both, briefs and typing, but she's more better at which? Well, look at the ratio. 4 to 1 for legal briefs, 4 to 3 for typing. Karen the lawyer is actually more better at the legal briefs. So this is where she should concentrate. And Kate the lawyer is less worse at typing, so she should concentrate on that. So that is the example of comparative advantage using individuals. We could do the same thing with countries. Let's say that England and Portugal, again, in that example, England was better at both, better at wine production and better at cloth production. It would not be advantageous for England to simply not trade and produce both. It would still be advantageous for England to produce where they are more better and Portugal to produce where they are less worse. So that's a concrete example. Hope that helps you get your mind around the concept of comparative advantage as distinct from absolute advantage.